T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the fire, dancing through the fire. I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Good evening, everyone. I am Michelle Cooper, your host at Money Rockstars, and I am really excited to come to you today and give you some really practical advice in regards to your money and your financials. And as you, a person in business, as an entrepreneur in the world, a lot of times in my radio show, we talk about the conscious creation of money and the energetic value of money. But tonight we're going to talk about some things that you need to perhaps have in place to do business in the world that we live in today. So I'm going to jump right in here and share some really juicy information that is going to help you navigate change, growth, and shifting within your business. And then later, we're going to talk to Julie. Julie is an entrepreneur who has become an intrapreneur as she has joined my team. And I really thought it was a great opportunity for her to share her experience of making her business harder than it needed to be. I really am one for learning from others, like learning from experience. I think we can all read books and read blogs and watch videos and stuff, but until we experience something or learn from someone who has experienced it, there isn't like the depth of learning doesn't come through. So let's start off with 3 terms that you may hear as an entrepreneur in business: bookkeeper, accountant, and CFO. And what are these people? What do they do? What is the role? Do you even need one, or do you need all? We're going to go through some stuff that comes up with me and clients that I work with, where they're kind of like, I don't know what I need, but I know I need something. And we want to make sure we always give people the service, the support that they need in the different levels of their business. So let's start with bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a vital necessity in your business. I don't care who you are, what you do, you need records. You need financial records within your business, both for tax reporting and for like the tracking of what is going on. How will you know how well you're doing if you're not getting accurate, timely, detailed records? So who does that? Well, often in business, that starts out with you. You are doing it. You are your business. You know, you're doing all the things, and you may be doing the bookkeeping. And there's tools out there right now that make that pretty easy for you to do. Including software like QuickBooks or FreshBooks or Wave, Xero, all those things. And that really can set you off on the right foot. You can also maybe do your bookkeeping through a spreadsheet. I see all kinds of things, and different people have different systems that work for them at the beginning of their business. So bookkeeping deals with data. It deals with transactions. It really sits in the historics of your business. That is the value of bookkeeping. Bookkeepers can do a course that is anywhere, depending on the course, from 6 months to several years. And they can become qualified in the very basics of how to create accurate, detailed financial records for a business. They are not an accountant, and we'll talk about the difference there. But bookkeepers are responsible for ensuring the transactions for revenue and expenses are entered correctly so that you have detailed, accurate financial records for your business. So that means that revenue is entered correctly by revenue stream or by product, or it comes off of your inventory, or it's in the right currency, those kind of things. They're also tasked with making sure that your expenses are entered and put in the right category. So you don't want, say, Facebook ad costs to go into meals and entertainment, right? We want to make sure things are categorized properly. And, there is some getting to know you in your business to understand what is common in your business, what are common expenses. So that we're confident where the expenses are being categorized at. And really their sole purpose is to organize data, and they provide historical records. So historical meaning it happened anywhere from yesterday through to however the beginning of how long your business was, like maybe it might be 5 years, it might be 5 months, right? So what is the value of historical data? Well, it shows us where we've been, and it forms the basis, or it may form the basis of where you want to go. So in the beginning, often entrepreneurs are doing bookkeeping themselves, and then their business starts to take off, and they may think, this is too much for me. Now I need help. Now I need somebody else to do this. So when you're looking for a bookkeeper, you're looking for somebody that you can work with, that you communicate well with, that you know understands your business or is willing to ask questions of your business. If you do business online, you want to make sure your bookkeeper understands online business. If you do business, like a brick and mortar, like a store, you want to make sure they understand the store model, the inventory turnover. If you have a restaurant, you want to make sure they understand the cost of goods sold and the FIFO, the first in, first out kind of system of rotating stock. That's going to be important. So if you have a more complex business like a restaurant, especially restaurants where you serve alcohol and you're going to have complex different tax rates for things like alcohol and stuff, you want a bookkeeper who has experience in that and they know the deal, right? Don't be afraid to ask questions. You may go through a couple of bookkeepers. You may go through a whole bunch of bookkeepers. Once you find one that you jive with, hang on to them because they are priceless. And I believe, truly that if you're not valuing what the bookkeeper does, go through an audit. That sure will make you value what a bookkeeper does. Because if you've had a good bookkeeper, you have all your records, and you are good to go through an audit. If you don't, or you've dropped the ball somewhere along the way, or the bookkeeper has, then that's going to show up in an audit for sure. So bookkeepers should be able to gather the information and turn that into data and provide you with financial statements. Financial statements can be monthly, quarterly. They should at least be quarterly. I wouldn't recommend anything else, but they can also provide year-on-year financial statements. And you need to have a look at these financial statements because the financial statements form the basis of any kind of decisions that you could make in the future about your business. And a quick summary of reports that you would ask your bookkeeper for would be a profit and loss, which looks at the bottom line. How much money came in and where did you spend it? And what are you left with? The balance sheet, which shows you reconciled balances of bank accounts, of credit cards, of loans, of assets and liabilities. Your accounts receivable report, which will show you money that is owed to you, hasn't been collected yet, which means you've sent the invoice out and you have yet to receive payment. And accounts payable, which is money that you owe people. So you've received an invoice for something and you haven't yet paid it. You get those 4 reports from a bookkeeper, monthly, at least quarterly. You're pretty much good to go. A great thing to note about bookkeepers that I hear constantly is, I need to wait to hire you or hire your firm until I've got my shit together. The fact that you need to get your shit together is the reason you need to hire a bookkeeper. Like, that is where they come in. That is their magic. They can do the work so much faster, so much more efficient than you ever could possibly do it. So if you are finding yourself at that point, you need a bookkeeper, just hire one. And there's no shame in this. There's no feeling bad, nothing. Just hire the bookkeeper. Get it done. It's as simple as that. And that's why I recommend that you get started with a bookkeeper that you can grow with right from the start. Growing with your bookkeeper creates an incredible relationship. And this is a person that is going to know a lot about you and your business. So, you need to feel comfortable with them. So then we move on to an accountant. Do you have an accountant? Do you need an accountant? What does an accountant do? Well, you absolutely need an accountant if you're incorporated. An accountant is the only person who can do your incorporation properly, efficiently, accurately, correctly, the most detailed way. And you also would need an accountant if you are switching your business structure. So if you're going from like a sole proprietor to incorporation, you would need an accountant for that process. A good accountant will sit down with you a couple of times a year and review your business with you and tell you when it is time to incorporate. Different accountants have different advice on this. So it's something, it can be a personal thing with accountants. I find that I look at a lot of tax strategy, and so I recommend incorporation sometimes before other accountants do. So if you're looking for an accountant, you want to ask them some questions, right? You want to know if there's something they specialize in. You want to know if they're familiar with your industry again or your way of doing business. There's no point in getting an accountant who's 65 years old and barely can go online and send an email if your business is wholly online. You will not be in alignment with that person. They will not know the language you're speaking, and it will lead to frustration and agony. It's really that simple. Find an accountant you're in alignment with, who knows your industry, who knows how you do business, and build a relationship with them. There are specialist accountants out there. There's tax strategy specialist accountants. There's specialist accountants for, say, like cross-border business or companies that have complicated structures, like intercompany, like this company owns a percentage of this company, and they have like this big hierarchical tree. And there's also accountants that specialize in international tax strategy. So you're making a lot of money and you've got bank accounts in the Bahamas. There's accountants that specialize in that, and you need to work with those people. So the thing is you're going to be given your financial statements from your bookkeeper. And at that point, you can be like, oh, okay, what do I do now? Now, some people might think, well, I could ask my bookkeeper, and absolutely you should. Your bookkeeper will be able to answer quite a few questions for you. You could have a conversation with your accountant. That person may be able to answer some of your questions. Or you could think about working with somebody who holds the title of CFO. Now, CFO is Chief Financial Officer in a normal structure. I act as CFO for many clients, and I call that a conscious financial officer, because those are the kind